Hi, I'm Jenny Miller of Let's Get Sewing. Are you ready to take the fear and frustration out of your sewing experience and finally get sewing? Then you're in the right place. Be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any of my tips and tutorials. And check out the caption too. There's a link to my website where you can find out more about my course, Conquer Your Sewing Machine, and future courses that I have coming. And now, let's get sewing. This week's video is a really short one, but it's a problem that I'm pretty sure everyone has encountered at some point, and you are going to be amazed at how simple the solution is. Do you ever sew a seam only to go to clip your seams and realize that when you first started out, all of that thread bunched up in a nest on the back? Or have you ever started sewing a seam and your fabric kind of gets caught in the presser foot or pushed down into the needle plate on the first couple of stitches? If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's just get started and I'll show you what I mean. So most new machine manufacturers have these handy drop-in bobbins, which are really easy to thread. You just put your bobbin in there, wind it around, and it cuts it off for you. And you put the cover back on. The problem with that is that those first few stitches like to pull through to the back, and you get some kind of little tangling here at the very start. What you want to do is to put your thread under the presser foot and lower your presser foot. Then you want to grab both threads back here. I have the needle thread and the bobbin thread between my thumb and finger, and I'm going to hold on to it for about 3 or 4 stitches when I get started. And that way I don't get any tangling here at the start. Now, this is the same whether you're going to back stitch or not back stitch. I didn't back stitch these because it's just a quick sample, but even if I was going to back stitch, I want to hold on for about 3 stitches and then I can let go to back stitch and then go forward. So use this technique whether you are going to back stitch or not. Sometimes when you start sewing a seam and you back stitch here at the beginning, it bunches up your fabric like this. Primarily this will happen on lighter weight fabrics, like this is a piece of rayon, but it can happen on just about any fabric, and here's why it happens. When you first put your fabric underneath the presser foot and start sewing, this lightweight fabric can get bunched up a little bit and causes that at the start of the stitch. So just remember to lower your presser foot and then grab both threads, the bobbin and the needle thread, in your right hand and take about 3 or 4 stitches, then back stitch, and then grab those stitches one more time. And they're not always easy to get a hold of, but grab a hold of them before you start going forward again. Holding on to those threads prevents it from bunching up or getting pushed down into the needle plate. And then you don't get that kind of bunching at the start of your seam. Now that you've seen what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure you've probably encountered this before. Did you know that holding on to the threads is the solution? If you knew that, tell me in the comments. If not, I hope this will be helpful for you going forward. It makes a big difference in the appearance of your seams and your garment and just how you feel about your project overall. So remember to hold on to those 2 threads, pull up your bottom thread first so that you can hold on to both of them and see how much of a difference it makes in your sewing. Thank you for joining me today. My goal is to take the frustration out of your sewing experience, and so I hope my tips are helpful. Feel free to comment with any questions or ideas you may have. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Now, let's get sewing.